I came home. This is my room. This is the room that I grew up in. I came home after 4 years of not being here. For the past 4 years, I've lived in Poland, and now I'm in Ukraine, in my city, in Lviv. This is the room that I grew up in. These are the balloons that my best friend has gifted me on my birthday, which was a week ago. I came here to take a breather, to understand where I am in life and what to do next. I came here to integrate the experience of living abroad with being at home. I left Ukraine, my country, after 10 days since the war started here and wasn't here for 4 years. Those 4 years were a time of self-discovery and of trying to understand who I am and what I want in life. Those 4 years were years of freedom, of selecting things that I want to select. For the first time living abroad, long term, understanding how life in Europe is, understanding how to fully be responsible for the way you live your life, for your choices, for everything you do for yourself on a daily basis. And a part of these 4 years, I was dating, and the last relationship I had, which finished very abruptly, as I explained in one of my previous videos, is the relationship that I thought would last way longer and that I thought would be a strong and long relationship. However, life has its own plans, and now I'm here. Before opening a new chapter in my life, I feel like what I would want from life right now is I want just my days to be filled with more life and more experiences. I understand that I'm 34 and I didn't have a very standard layout of life that people have in my country, where people marry in their mid to late 20s and have kids by this point, or second or third kids, and buy apartments and stuff. I don't have all of that. And I think very much about myself that I'm a late bloomer and that I will want that a bit later in life with the right person. Since this didn't happen, and since this wasn't my priority for the previous decade, what I would like to do differently now is I would like to just have more life in my days. And I want to tell you a little bit what I think I mean by that. Over the past 5 years, I had an incredible amount of independence and solitude that I was looking for. I was having all the right in the world to take decisions that I want, to do the things that I want to do with the people that I want to do. And this freedom didn't automatically translate to me meeting a lot of friends, establishing different friendships with different people. It translated more to me trying to have a good life, very safe life, because I always had in the back of my mind this thought that I'm an immigrant, I live abroad, I don't know what's going to happen with my own country, I don't know if I will have a place to return or how it's going to look like in the future. So my primary and pretty hectic goal in the first years of moving abroad was to be able to sustain my life there. And what I want to say is, for the first few years, I didn't even really analyze if I like the country, if I love how things are going. I was just happy and grateful that I have this opportunity, because this was one of the good opportunities to be able to just move without any strings attached, without having to change a job. I feel really privileged in that respect. But over the last few years, I was increasingly feeling how my life has become very predictable, very safe. How the apartment that I rented and made very convenient, beautiful, and exactly as I wanted it to be, was eating a lot of money from my budget and was no longer making me really happy. How the things I tried to start in the country, like having a small business, were just making me spend more and more time in solitude. And most of all, it was really hard for me to bring myself to meet new people. I was always being very close with my close friends from Ukraine, who some of them were stayed here in Lviv, some of them moved to other countries, but none of them moved with me to the same city. So I always relied on my old circle, and I was really reluctant to start a new circle in the new country. And when I tried, it was hard. And I don't know how to explain this, but it was really hard. And I found some good friends, very few. Basically, one very close friend, and that's it. Also, I have a remote work, which meant that a lot of my time is spent at home, and this is why I invested a lot of effort into the apartment, into making it convenient for myself and beautiful and cute. But a steady experience of my last 2 years in that place was just being in work, just walking around that apartment with a computer, putting it in different places of my apartment, working, then going to cook for myself with putting another laptop and putting it near the place where I'm cooking, or washing the dishes and watching some YouTube videos on it. And then having opportunities to spend time with my boyfriend. But that was it. That was it. And I wouldn't say I didn't travel much. I traveled a little bit, of course. It wasn't even building a life in the new country. It was more making sure everything is correct and right and legal, and I have a right to stay there, and I have the opportunity to be there further without even much thinking about, am I really happy, or what is the point of all of it? And I understand that I lived this way of life for 1 or 2 years there, but in my third and fourth year, I wouldn't say I was actively choosing that life. I was just going on with the flow, doing what I thought is best to just stay safe, stay stable, try to save money. And the apartment started eating more severely into my budget since the apartment price went up, the dollar went down, prices went up because a lot of people moved to Poland from Ukraine, also from other countries, and the demand became so much higher. And for the past 2 years, I've been living pretty much on repeat, just bringing myself in the morning to my computer, starting my job, logging in 8 hours of work, then trying to do some activities like learning to roller skate, or going to yoga, or going to the gym, or spending time with my boyfriend, then starting all over again next day. Sometimes these days when I was just waking up, working all day, spending the time with my gadgets all day, watching content, trying to do good at my job, sometimes could stretch all days and I didn't even see other people for a few days in a row. My boyfriend was also busy, he had a lot of work. We didn't see each other every single day. I was very responsible not to move in together very quickly. So basically, I've built this insanely safe life where you are sheltered from a lot of life crises, where there is no roommate that could bother you, where there are no disturbing neighbors because the place I lived in was pretty good, where instead of taking a bus or a tram somewhere, we went most places with a car, where I could pack more into my suitcase because I could put it in his car and we could drive wherever, where groceries were delivered to my home and I didn't really need to go and buy them because it wasn't very expensive to get them delivered, where I built a routine where I had the same breakfast every morning because it was convenient, and I have coffee made the same way every morning because it was convenient, where I didn't have to change anything, move anywhere, do anything extreme, where I could just select which hobbies to participate in, and where I could just even build a small business in my home, having the place to do that, having the place to store all of the supplies for 3D printing and packaging and everything. And I don't know at which point, but this life became so predictable, so safe. It was so obviously planned. It was such a no-brainer to go and do yoga or gym or whatever after work, and the next day work, and then go do gym or yoga next day after work, and then take your supplements and see your partner from time to time and see friends from time to time and just project that your further life will look like this because it was stable and nice and good. And something about it was bothering me so much. And it doesn't really have a lot of relation to my partner even, because I think this is a me thing, that the lack of novelty, the lack of people, the way that I didn't make myself very social, the way that I protected myself from unknown experiences and sheltered myself from any kind of unpredictability was just eating my soul. I'm 34 years old right now. When I moved to Poland, I was 30. And I don't think this time in my life is the time to just sit at home in front of my computer and go to sleep in front of my computer and, do these things that's supposed to make me happy, like move my body. Somehow it all seemed like a doctor's prescription, not real life. I don't know what it is about comfortable life that makes me feel that way. Somehow this schedule where you are going to live life on a vacation once in a half a year, and you're allowed to like be happy and explore there, and you have the money to do it, but then you go back to the same routine. People like, we are encouraged to build routines. I was thinking, like, my brain was so washed by YouTube videos and success coaches that you need a routine, you need to feel good, you need to go to the gym, you need to do all of these things. And I was doing all of them. I wasn't living a life that is like risky and crazy, and I wasn't spending my time on the couch, and I wasn't spending my time absolutely miserably, although I admit that there was too much of staring into the laptop. But I was working on my career, I was doing all of these things, and some days just felt so incredibly bad in that beautiful life. And I cannot explain this in any other expression than that this life was devoid of life itself. This is a template for life. This is doing the same things every day. I don't know why, but I didn't feel happy in that. So, because this life came to an end, this exact layout of life came to an end, and because my relationship with my partner ended, I am deciding right now that I have two ways to go. I have a way to go into the same stable life, just, with time, finding another person and staying in the same place and, doing the same type of life as I did before. And I have another option. This whole situation that happened between me and my boyfriend can be, for me, an exit and an attempt to try a different life. And I want this life that I'm planned to build right now to be less predictable, to be less relied on comforts of life. And I want this life to be more full with experiences. I want this life to be spent around people. I want to meet people, finally. After so many years that I was very reserved in meeting people, I want to meet more people. I want to be more social. I want to see other ways of seeing the world. I want to meet other perspectives. I want to travel. And I want to spend a lot of days not staring into my computer and doing it just for work, but not doing it as entertainment. I want to spend more time in nature. I want to spend more time in real experiences of the world. I want tangible experiences. I want unpredictable experiences, good experiences, bad experiences, feeling something. Stability. Like, I was really living my life in Poland right now pretty much as an old person, where everything is very predictable, where all steps are lined up, where sometimes, of course, we went to parties and big events, but overall, on a day-to-day basis, I have so much thirst for novelty and for people and for traveling. And I think maybe because inside of myself I wanted this so much, maybe God or the universe or whatever force there is that rules everything in this world, or whatever things we attract by our own minds into our life, somehow maybe I attracted an opportunity, a chance, a chance to live a life like that, because I was already thinking that I would settle down, and I accepted that I settled down. I had all of these dreams in me, but they were pretty much suppressed because I appreciate good relationships, and I was thinking that finally I will have a family. And since this is over unexpectedly, and since I'm processing some grief and some hard feelings right now, at the same time I cannot hide from the fact how good of an opportunity this is to not give up on myself yet, to go, to explore, to travel, to not live in this life-preserving mode anymore, but live in an alive mode, if it makes sense. I want to see how that could look like for me. So that's it. That's how I feel. These are my thoughts a week after coming home. I really want to start a new chapter soon. Let's see how it goes. I'll be sharing this here on my channel.